Hello, everybody. I'm Tara. I'm your host for today's live demo. I have Finn with me today. She's from the Philippines. Finn will demonstrate how to give your artwork a soft, gentle glow by layering watercolors and using one color. Before I let Finn get started, I just wanted to cover a couple of things. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notifications so this way you stay up to date on everything that is Etchr. Join us tomorrow, Friday, June 4th at 7 p.m. for another live demo. Please share this information with your friends so our community can grow and more people can find their art. If you have any questions, please put them in our comment area and I will then share them with Finn at the appropriate time. I will be throwing in a few links at your updates in the news feed. And remember to share your artwork with us at #EtchrStudio. This enters you into weekly prizes in our community. I am now going to turn everything over to the lovely Finn.
Hey everyone. So today I will be showing you how to create this piece. And then I prepared a guide for everybody if you want to try this. These are the layers, and then these are the color tests that we will be covering throughout the session. So do we start or nothing?
Yep, jump right in.
Oh, do I show my picture or nothing? Okay, so for this one, for my color test, I'd like to explain the color tests first. So these are the color tests that we'll be using for today. So we have like a flat wash. So open it closer. We have a flat wash, and then a gradient wash, and then another flat wash, but it's a bit lighter, so it has a bit more water. And then these ones are something that I would like to emphasize for this piece. So with this one, I did 2 tests for like details. And so if you can see, with this one, the light wash went first, while with this one, the detail went first. So I'll just show it later. And we will be using just one color. So for today, I used really dark blue from Shrinka. So I used this shade, but if you want to try it with another color, feel free to just use anything you want. And then for the colors, I prepared like a really dark wash. So this has the most pigment, and then slowly added a bit of water to the next, I'm not sure what it is called, but to the next containers. So this is the darkest ones, and then it goes lighter as you go on. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna use this. We're gonna do the first layer. So the first layer is the masking fluid, the wash. And this step will help bring attention to the piece. So with this piece, I really wanted to emphasize the girl. So I made sure to put really dark pigment on the sides and make it really light along the center. So we will start now. I have 2 water containers on the side. And so I think it's important for these kinds of paintings that you have 2, one for the water, for clear water, and one for washing your brush. So I will start with a pan brush. So the first thing you need to do is just to wet the whole paper. So just try to make your water layer even. So I already added masking fluid to the lighting points of my painting. Okay.
This is great.
So
I'm
now
finally
that-
seeing somebody use the fan brush. I've no idea what to do with the fan brush.
I'm not sure as well, but it does a really good job of spreading water. And I usually do the initial wash with a bigger brush.
Okay.
So we will wait for this to like slightly dry a little bit. So if you can see now, it's really still really glossy. And okay, so I see that there's a part that doesn't have water yet. So you can try this as well. Try to let the light hit the water, and then you will see which parts are dry and which ones are already wet. So for the masking fluid, I already put some masking fluid along the edges of the lady, and also along the some parts of the moon, just to give it a bit of texture later on, and also the edges of some of the plants. Okay, so wait for this to dry a bit. And then, so when you're ready, take your darkest, your second darkest shade, and then test it out first on your test sheet. So with this one, since I already like the color, I'm gonna start. So for this step, I would like you to keep in mind that you have to be quick, because the paper might dry. So I'm gonna start with the edge. Okay, I'm just gonna add some pigment there. And then I would like to, so if you see this happening, I would like you to just use your cloth and try to blot it a bit, just to make sure that the gradient from the dark area to the light area is really can be emphasized. So you could go again. And just really focus on making the gradient from the dark area to the light area really smooth. So here I'm gonna add a bit of water to push the dark area towards the side. So I'm gonna use my cloth again and just dab it so that so one thing that I really like about this color that I'm using from Schminka is that it has a really nice granulation, which I don't see in a lot of colors. I'm just gonna do the same on this side. Again, I'd like you to focus on trying to keep the gradient. Oops, there. I made a mistake there, but I can just wipe that off later. Okay. So once again, I'm gonna use the cloth and so I'd like you to focus along the outer ring of the moon. So we would like to achieve the same thing here, where it's dark here and then it's light here, so that the edge of the moon can be seen. Okay.
So for having a paper towel or cloth is definitely part of your palette.
Yeah, especially for the first part, for the first wash.
And which size brush are you using right now?
I'm using the 12
12 round brush. 12 round brush. All right.
Okay, it's all done. Okay, so I would like to add a bit more here. Okay. So with this, I would like you to alternate from with your water and your pigment. So I think that's done. I'm gonna use the hair dryer to
And through the magic of Zoom, we don't hear the blow dryer. I'm going to drop in the link for the 90-minute workshop that is June 17th. Remember, the mini workshops are designed for you to paint along with us. So they move at a little slower pace. We have more time to answer your questions. Here is the link.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the second layer. So for the second layer, we're gonna do the really dark leaves. So we're gonna do these. So since watercolor kind of lifts sometimes, I would like you to make sure that your paint is properly mixed, because sometimes when there are like powdery pigments left, they tend to get lifted later on. So I'm gonna use a smaller brush. This is from, wait, no. I'm gonna use, this brush. I think it's the number 3 brush from Etchr again. And then just really mix your darkest pigment. So this color can be made by mixing a black, a cool blue, and a bit of magenta. So if you don't have like the specific paint color that I'm using right now, you could mix those. So again, I'm gonna test on my test sheet. So I always try to make sure that I have a test sheet with me. So the test sheet is the same paper that I use here, so that I will know what to expect when I'm coloring. So I'm gonna start with the details. So okay, I'm gonna start. So with watercolor, I think it's nice, especially if you're right-handed, to start from this part to the other side. Okay. So let's start. I'm gonna paint here. So I really like these simple leaf shapes. And I think if you follow me on Instagram, I think a lot of you would see this shape in my other works as well.
I will drop in your Instagram link again for everybody. You can see her beautiful work on there, and she shares some process as well.
Okay, so I'm seeing that it's a bit too dark, so I'm gonna use the lighter one next to the darkest pigment. Okay. So just so with this one, just try to be gentle with your brush, I think, so that you don't have to change brushes all the time. So with the stems, try to just be really soft with your hands, and then so that you don't have to change brushes.
You can also see how lightly you're holding the brush. It's gently resting on your hand. You've got a grip on it, but you're not squeezing it so tight that you'd be squeezing the life out of the paintbrush.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think holding it really lightly would also like avoid any wrist injuries, I think. Especially when we're like painting for longer periods of time. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna paint these. So for the leaves, I draw them so that they would like face a bit towards the girl, so that like I think somehow it draws the eye towards the center. Okay, so one thing that I would like to mention here though is about the masking fluid. So the masking fluid that I use is something that I found online. I'm not sure what the brand is, but it's this one. And with some masking fluids, it's not ideal to blow dry them. So before you work on something with something similar to this with masking fluid, make sure to have a test sheet first, where you put masking fluid and then you paint over it, and then use the blow dryer on it so that you will see if your masking fluid is okay with the blow dryer. So I think some have, I'm not sure, but the materials kind of melt into the paper. So if it would be, just to play it safe, testing it out would be like a really good idea.
Yeah, sometimes finding the right masking fluid is half the battle.
Yeah. I went through so many masking fluids until I found this one.
I had one and I used it and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to remove it. And it was a blue, so I could easily see it, and it ate up the paper. That was heartbreaking.
Oh, that's, yeah, I had one, that I had that happen to me as well. And it was like a masking fluid that I ordered from like Amazon. So if you order it from Amazon and then ship it here, so it takes like a lot longer since I'm from the Philippines. And then I was so excited to try them out, but I didn't like them. Which was kind of sad. Like I was really excited for that. One thing I noticed with the Etchr brushes though is that they have like longer bristles than what I usually use, which are nice because it's easier to make thinner lines. Okay, wait, I'm gonna try to be a bit faster in this one.
You're okay.
So usually with these patterns, when I do the first ones, I'm usually really slow, and then the later it goes, I mean, it gets like easier.
And right now, this is just lining the leaves where the masking fluid is.
Yeah, and okay, I can see the pencil still that I sketched underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I'm just trying to follow the so
This is very relaxing to watch.
yeah, I think watercolor, like for me, it's really therapeutic.
I'm going to drop in our feedback survey for everybody. Please take a moment, fill it out, let us know how we're doing. And this helps us also plan for future events. And we already have somebody signed up for the mini workshop. Yay, thank you.
Thank you. So for the mini workshop, we're gonna do a few more colors. So I think it's gonna be like there's gonna be more layers. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Okay, so for this side, I'm only gonna paint the leaves that are going this direction so that it can frame the picture better. And then maybe some leaves facing the other way. Okay, so for
We have
the
everybody
lower
mesmerized.
so for the lower parts, I think it's okay to add like the leaves that are facing the other way since it's darker. And so I think with watercolor, I think one thing that really helps me paint like a whole scene is like knowing what I want to paint before I start. So sometimes the paint dries up, like, and you haven't gotten to the part that you like to paint yet. So I think like just planning your artwork and just knowing what you're gonna make is really helpful. Almost done with the leaves. I'll just add the stems. And I think since this is a really dark paint, I think it's okay to just overlap things. So I'll just leave some of the stems blank for later. So again, when you're using the really dark pigments, make sure to mix them up once in a while so that the pigments won't lift off later. Okay, I think we're done with this one. we're gonna go to the next layer. Okay.
Finn, what paper are you using today?
I'm using cotton paper from Bao Hong. So it's this one. And I really like it because I can't find paper easily here in the Philippines. And this one is something that I came across at a shop, and it's pretty like affordable for cotton paper. So it's really nice. I really recommend this brand. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next layer. So for the next layer, we're gonna do like 3 things. So we will do these lighter plants in the back on the background. So it will give your painting a bit more depth. And then we will do the first layer of the moon and the first layer for the lake. So let's start with the plants, since it's the one that takes longest. Again, make sure you test your paints first before you paint. Okay, so like it's looking a bit brighter than I want. So I will add a bit of dark pigment. Okay, I think this is the color that I like. And then I'm gonna start with the background plants. So for this one, I think just try to, once again, keep the flow looking this way. So I'll start. So for this, we're gonna use this technique, which is like just overlapping paints. So since we're gonna be using a lighter pigment, I think it's okay to just paint over the darker plants. Okay. I think I like the brighter one. And I think
Reference
with
is coming in handy.
yeah, I think with watercolor, I think it's okay to change your plans, your initial plans throughout the process. Because sometimes the paints don't like act the way you want them to act. So for this one, I'm just making a plant pattern that I usually use for background. So you just push your brush and then just like do a wavy thing. So like try to like be gentle first, and then just do that stroke generally. Okay. So I actually learned this from a YouTube video on like, I'm not sure how to say it, if I'm saying it right, but it's from Asumi E, Japanese painting video, which uses like minimal strokes to convey different things. So it's a really interesting topic, and I mean, I think there are some demos as well, which are really cool. So for this one, I'm just gonna add some leaves and some tall grass. This will help draw the attention to the center a bit more. So add bigger leaves. So if you feel like you made a mistake with watercolor, I think it's okay, since it's like really easy to cover up and lift. So let's go to the, wait, I think I need to add one more.
We are just at the halfway point.
Okay, so let's add the plants on the other side. So again, I'm gonna do the same thing that I did and just try to add like a variation of leaves and like tall grass. So earlier, I only painted the darker leaves going this way because I'm gonna use the lighter ones going the other way. I think that's a really nice way of not taking attention from the center since it's a lot lighter. Okay,
You have
so
everybody mesmerized today.
And sometimes I think if you still feel that there's like an empty spot, just adding really small like leaf, like plant stems are really helpful. I would like to add one more. Okay, so we're gonna start with the moon now. And we will need like a bigger brush and the lightest color. This is the number 10 brush. This time. And then, oh, so again, I'm gonna test it out first. If it's the color better. So the next step, we'll be doing the first layer for the girl, and then this bigger part for the moon. So I will start. I'm gonna be using a lot of water for these first few layers of the moon and the girl. Okay, so try to trace the outside part of the moon. And then add a bit of water. Just try to like be a bit random with this to make the surface of the moon more like the moon. Okay. Okay. So one thing I like about cotton paper is like it takes a lot longer to dry up than wood pulp paper, and you still have like a lot of time to save like the parts where you think are like dried up. So for this one, I'm gonna make this part a bit darker so that the girl will be a bit more visible. Okay. And then the other side. And just try to be a bit random, the patterns here. So like definitely leave white spaces so that it will. Okay, so I'll just use like it's a bit too dark. So sometimes try to add a bit of water to add variation to the. So now let's go to the girl. So we will just add color to her hair and her clothes. So for the hair, I'd like you to. Oh wait, no, that's for the next layer. So just start with a lot of water and just a little bit of paint. So this is still the third layer. And, so for this part, I added a bit of like the lightest color to the arm and just a little bit along the sleeves. Okay, so I'm gonna use the dryer again.
No problem.
Okay, so
I'm going to drop in our feedback link again. Please take a moment, let us know how we're doing. It is 100% anonymous and takes 2-3 minutes top. This piece is coming along beautifully. I'm in awe.
okay. So next we are gonna do the second layer for the moon and then the second layer for the girl. So for the second layer, okay, so this is like where the test sheet really comes in handy. So since I already have this blot, I hope it's dry. So I could like layer them already. So this is the darker, the second darkest one. Or like if I don't like how that looks like, I could just use like this, the same dark one, and just add a bit of water to it. Okay. So I think I like this one better for the next layer. Let's start with the moon. So the second layer of the moon will be this part. Like just to add a bit more texture to the moon. Okay, so I always like just really the test sheet is really helpful for me. So I like really suggest that if you're sometimes not sure yet, like the test sheet can like really help you make decisions. So again, I'm gonna do the same thing where we're like blotting or like making just a pattern along the moon. So again, with this area, I'm gonna try to make it like a bit darker than the upper part.
She's slowly emerging from the moon. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I think like that's one of my favorite things about like going layer by layer. You can like really see how um, and we're gonna start with the second layer for the girl. So for the second layer, I'm gonna make sure to avoid this part of the hair so that like you'll have like a shiny part of the hair. So again, I'm gonna try out if the color is what I want. So since the hair is a lot darker than the moon, I'm gonna add a bit of this pigment. Wait, I think I need to adjust it here. So I'm just gonna get it straight from the pan again. Make a new. Okay, so this is more the color that I like. And then I'm gonna start with the dress first. So for the dress, I'd like here to start. I'm gonna start to be a bit more mindful of the texture of the clothes. So like some parts will be a bit lighter than the others. So here I'm adding like water with paint, and then for this side I'm just gonna add water. So since I already have water on my brush, that's just gonna make it just a little bit lighter. It's gonna be a lot darker down here. Like the darker pigment. Oh wait, okay, this the line. Then for the hair,
I'm gonna share our Etchr hashtag and our Facebook page. Don't forget to share your artwork at hashtag Etchr Studio. And if you're on Facebook, the Facebook group is amazing. It's private, so your artwork and your comments are not all over Facebook. Everybody in there is incredibly supportive. Really just another branch of how wonderful Etchr is. So if you're on Facebook, join the group. You'll get a lot from it as well.
so here I wanted to like make this part a bit lighter since I think it's a bit too dark. So I'm just gonna add a bit of water and then use my pot to lift the pigment a bit. I think I like that. So I will use the dryer again. So for the last few layers, I'm gonna add these like darker areas for the dress and for the moon. I'm gonna use this color that we mixed. I'm gonna test it out. Wait. Then just try to paint the folds of the clothes. I will switch brushes. I'm using this smaller brush.
Is that the 3 again?
No, it's yeah, it's a 3 brush, but it has like the shorter bristles, which makes it easier for like smaller areas. Just gonna add a bit of shadow to her sleeve. Just try to add where you think the shadows would fall. So again, I'm gonna make it darker along the edge, along this edge. And also darker underneath her hair. So for the hair, get a new, oops, wait. So for the hair, I'm gonna try to keep in mind that hair has like its own texture. So like I will mix them all together, but also leave some like lighter spots. So we're gonna start with the hair. I'll start with the top. Just try to leave like some spots so that the hair will have like different textures as well. So I think I will add a bit of a darker tone, a darker color here. So while your paper is still wet, I think like it's a really nice time to add just a few blocks of color so that your layer will not look so flat. Okay, then we're gonna start with the moon. So for the moon, I would like to make this part a bit darker since like it's a crater, and like make a bit of the edges darker. So again, I'm using water and paint. Like you can go between, go back and forth with water and paint for this stuff. I'm gonna add a bit more dots so that we have like craters on the moon.
Everybody is impressed with your process and how this looks like an exact copy of the original. You've blown them away with your skills.
Thank you, everyone.
And you really did. You worked with the white of the paper and that single color mix, and this is incredible.
Okay. So I think we're almost done. So
We have about 5 minutes left.
Okay. So before I remove the masking fluid, I'm gonna add just one more layer to the arm. So I'd like to add just layer. If you feel like you made your stroke a bit too dark while it's wet, just dab it away with your towel. Okay, so I think we're kind of done. I just need to remove things. I'm just
Now, I've just dropped in the link for the June 17th mini workshop. And I'm also going to drop in our feedback survey again. Please take a moment, let us know how we're doing. I hope to see some very familiar faces at the mini workshop as well.
So I'm just gonna add like just a few more details to the dress. More convincing. And then I will also add like a darker layer underneath here since like the sleeve is puffing out. Wait, just one more. I'm gonna add a bit of a shadow here since it's covered by the head. Okay.
It's incredible what you were able to do with one shade. And I definitely think this is a game changer for many of us to take on a challenge like this.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a lot you can do with just one color, especially if you use like just add water to each one so that they always like they belong to each other. Okay, so for the masking fluid, I'm gonna use I saw one artist do this, but I forgot who it was. So just wrap your finger with any plastic and then rub your masking fluid away. So I think with paper and with watercolor, you would like to avoid touching your paper since sometimes like the oils from your hand can transfer onto the paper and that will make that will make the watercolors like the paper. part of the paper.
And this is a good way to also, the oils from your fingers won't get on the paper as well.
Yeah. And like it's a lot easier. I tried to remove this with my hand. This was like not satisfying.
So we have a question about the taping down. You chose not to tape down your piece to a board. Is that a personal choice?
Sometimes I tape it down when I know I'm gonna work with a bigger piece. But for smaller ones like this, where I know that the paper can handle just enough water, I don't. But for bigger pieces, I usually stretch the paper. Okay, for the last layer, I'm just gonna use a bit of pencil and just lightly suggest the outline of the girl. But like for pieces that where you know you're gonna add a lot of water, I think like taping it down and stretching it beforehand is really helpful, and like it will make your make painting easier later on.
Now, will you weight this down between books to get it to flatten out again?
Right now it's like not very happily. So one thing that I do that I found out is to like dry your paper like this. Like so, wait, let me just remove this so it doesn't. So you like make it like a bit round and then dry it. And then usually like gets flat. Okay, so it's a lot better. It's not so wavy now. Okay, so I'll just remove I think we're done. I'll remove oh, I use washi tape for the borders. Okay. Because I think they're a lot easier to remove than masking tape. I've tried like using different masking tapes, and I'm just not careful enough to remove it so that the paper doesn't tear. Okay.
I think there's less tack in the washi tape as well, correct?
Yeah. And I think like it's a bit like waxy. The surface is a bit waxy, which makes it nice for. So we're done. This is the original one, and this is what we made today. The colors are a bit darker here, but that's okay.
It can't be exact all the time.
And this is our test sheet, and the layer. So we're done.
This was amazing. These pieces are beautiful. The chart that you created, immensely helpful. You're going to send that off to our admin team so we can share that with everybody. This was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for also like for this one, for this demo.
Thank you everybody for being with us today. We hope to see you on June 17th for the mini workshop. And don't forget to share your artwork at #Etchr Studio so we can see all your lovely work online as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. You're all wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.